Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Here we go again with female sports, the US women's national team. You know, I never really had anything against female sports. I think in the world of entertainment, it has its place. I'm a fan of Serena Williams and Venus Williams, female tennis, even female golf. When there's a young female athlete breaking records and getting massive endorsements, I've always been totally supportive, it's pretty cool. But it's slowly starting to shift, and I feel like a lot of people feel that way as well. And it's not because of misogyny and bigotry, it's because of all the disingenuous BS. When you tackle issues with a bad faith approach, when you're clearly lying with an obvious goal, that seems totally selfish and self-serving when it's all about you, and essentially trying to scam the audience into supporting a totally dishonest cause, well then all of a sudden it becomes less about sport and more about politics, and that's where you lose people. The US women's national team is simply unbelievable. I don't know what it is, but the athletes and the athletes' organizations in women's basketball and women's soccer are so incredibly snaky, manipulative, and dishonest. It makes me literally want to root for their downfall. If the US women's national soccer team is playing China, I'm rooting for China. And I don't care what your counter argument is, I'm rooting for China in that specific instance. Because this team, and frankly this whole organization, has become indefensible. Excuse the long-winded rant, but I'm going to justify everything that I said previous. We've got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so we're not going to rehash some of the old topics of discussion. I'm not going to go into the details as to why this supposed female athlete pay gap is a total lie. We already know the context. I'm sure you guys are educated on the context, but let's just lay that as the groundwork. We know it's a scam. They obviously know it's a scam. They get paid higher than their male counterparts in terms of a percentage of profits. Yet look at the dishonest nonsense that they try to pull. Here's the US women's national team, and I believe one of their spokespeople, who's also one of their lawyers, playing clearly edited clips of Will Cain at Fox News to try to make it seem as if they're victims of bigoted males who want to cut them out of getting their fair share.
So, critics pushing back at them.
I think equal pay is a ridiculous concept in and of itself. Soccer, for better or worse, on the men's side across this globe is much more popular than the women's.
Oh, we get that argument all the time.
They played a very small, precisely edited, purposely edited clip of Will Cain, where he says, I think equal pay is a ridiculous concept within itself. They're obviously trying to frame this as if Will Cain is anti-equal pay. The totally dishonest narrative that they're trying to imply is that women are being paid less for the same job and the same work in the same industry, and that you have these terrible, evil, racist white men on Fox who don't want to see women get paid fairly. But here's the actual clip.
Tell you why it's like this. Now, there's two things, first of all. When you talk about, as Trevor Scales just laid out, the bonus difference between the men's team and the women's team, between what a winner, if it had been the U.S. men, would get in the World Cup and the women. The women got a pool, or got paid out from a pool of $30 million from the Women's World Cup. The men would draw from a pool of $400 million, okay? $400 million, $30 million. Why is that? It's because the Men's World Cup generates $6 billion in revenue. The Women's World Cup generates $131 million in revenue. If you want to talk about pay disparity, the Women's World Cup players get paid out 20% of the total revenue. The men get paid out 7%. As a percentage point, they are getting much more. The problem is, for anybody desiring equal pay, and by the way, I think equal pay is a ridiculous concept in and of itself. If the women generate more revenue, they should get paid more than the men. Don't strive for getting the same, strive for getting what you're worth. And if you're worth more, then get more. And so what I'm saying to you right now is soccer, for better or worse, on the men's side, across this globe, is much more popular than women's soccer.
The women's game had higher ratings than the men's, though. So what do you say to that?
Charlie, that's in the United States.
That was in the U.S.
And that's comparing a women's World Cup final that featured the United States against a men's World Cup final in the United States that didn't feature the U.S. team.
I mean, come on. Who are you winning over with these totally dishonest tactics? It's clear propaganda. It's manipulation. It's so incredibly dishonest. even if we were talking about a product that I found was interesting, captivating, if this was the marketing shtick, if this was the kind of thing that they're doing in the media, there is no way that I would ever support them, which makes the whole concept backwards if you think about it. Their strategy isn't to create a great product or make the game more exciting, figure a way to bring an audience in. Their strategy is to grift, to pretend as if they're victims, to mislead the American public so they could get a public sentiment, let's call it PR cudgel, to go after organizations like FIFA and US national sports organizations, saying, give us more or else we're gonna keep engaging in this duplicitous, dishonest propaganda campaign. That's essentially what they're doing. Look, we know that we're not bringing in the same money that obviously men's soccer and men's sports are, but give us more money anyways. Even if the league is losing money every year and we're totally subsidized by male sports, like the WNBA for instance, do it or else we'll file lawsuits and we'll run a terrible campaign attempting to destroy this organization from the inside. Yeah, that doesn't seem like something I'd be willing to endorse. It doesn't seem like something I'm willing to get on board for and campaign. That's not justice, that's injustice. They wonder why people aren't supporting these organizations. There's an incredible sense of entitlement. The US women's national soccer team has performed relatively well in the modern era. They've collected accolades in worldwide competitions, absolutely. And following that, instead of building a brand, instead of marketing themselves, instead of taking a patriotic route to get people behind them and to get people excited for their competitive domination on the world scene, they took the most cynical approach possible. And they've alienated the millions of fans that they were probably trying to get on board in the first place. And actually, speaking of the whole patriotic notion, while representing America on the world stage and having that American flag on their chest, instead of playing into that, instead of getting people hyped for American excellence, this is what they do. US women's national team players largely silent during national anthem in 2023 World Cup opener against Vietnam, who proudly sang theirs. We've seen them step on American flags, kneel for the anthem, disrespect the anthem, and they continue to do it into 2023, and they're wondering why people aren't interested in this media product. It's not a surprise. They're essentially feeding into the whole America is an irredeemable, terrible place that should be shamed and condemned. They continue in 2023 to disrespect the national anthem. Meanwhile, foreign nations like Vietnam and pretty much every other nation are showing patriotism and love for their country's flag and history. Mind you, foreign nations who don't have the same incredible history as the United States. If any country should be celebrated on the world stage, it's the frickin' United States of America, the country that has led the world economically in all this incredible innovation that's made everyone's lives better, the country that led the world in civil rights progress and progress for the individual, one of the first countries to end slavery and enshrine individual rights regardless of family lineage, socioeconomic status, identity, skin color. That's a country that should be celebrated. Patriotism should be on the menu, should be popular, the most popular dish, but we continue to see this utter disrespect, nonsense woke political grift. No wonder these leagues aren't popular. It honestly has nothing to do with gender and all to do with action. And now the new strategy seems to be attempting to shame us into buying tickets. FIFA begs fans to, quote, do the right thing and buy tickets as Women's World Cup gets underway with many unsold seats. Do the right thing, the FIFA secretary tells us. You know what the right thing is? Not supporting organizations that are deeply dishonest, manipulative, and hateful. That's doing the right thing. So no, I will not buy a ticket because you guys are missing your financial targets. I will not be shamed into throwing logic out the window and supporting an equal pay movement that's built on lies and manipulation, and I will not be shamed in supporting these organizations as some sort of empty, vapid, political virtue signaling gesture. Absolutely not. And anyways, focusing too much on sports and any other form of consumerism entertainment is simply a waste of time. There's more important things going on in the world. So in short, the answer is no, I will not be buying tickets. Thank you very much. That's what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. You know that we'd love to have you here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.